Welcome, seekers of the truth, to the Magical Services channel. So this is going to be a most supreme love horoscope for the general collective for this day of June 7th, 2026. With that said, collective, let's get into your horoscope. So across this cycle, relational dynamics are shaped by a strong Gemini Cancer emphasis with secondary grounding from Taurus and Aries. The emotional field is unstable but highly responsive, meaning attraction patterns form quickly, intensify under emotional stimulus, and then require conscious regulation to avoid misalignment between desire and stability. The Sun in Gemini defines the dominant relational mechanism. Communication is the primary currency of attraction. Emotional outcomes are not determined by static compatibility, but by conversational flow, timing, and intellectual stimulation. In practical terms, relationships that survive this window are those that can maintain continuous dialogue without emotional distortion or interpretive overload. Miscommunication is the primary destabilizer, not lack of interest. The moon transitions across Aquarius and Pisces during this period, producing a dual emotional signature. Early phases carry detachment, observational distance, and pattern recognition in emotional behavior. This creates a tendency to analyze partners rather than fully merge with them. As the moon moves into Pisces influence, emotional permeability increases significantly. Boundaries weaken, emotional projection intensifies, and relational perception becomes idealized or symbolically exaggerated. This shift increases susceptibility to emotional confusion, but also opens deeper empathic bonding if grounded properly. Venus in Cancer dominates the love dynamic. This placement prioritizes emotional safety, continuity, and familiar emotional patterns. Attraction is not random, it is anchored in perceived emotional security. Individuals or relational patterns that resemble home like emotional resonance become magnetically amplified. However, this also introduces emotional defensiveness. When vulnerability is triggered without trust infrastructure, withdrawal occurs rapidly. In relationship terms, this is a high receptivity but high protection Venus signature. Mars in Taurus stabilizes desire but slows execution. Attraction is physical, steady, and persistence based rather than impulsive. Once desire forms, it tends to remain consistent over time rather than fluctuating. However, this creates friction with the faster moving Gemini and Pisces emotional signals. One part of the relational system wants immediacy and stimulation, another demands patience and gradual confirmation. This mismatch produces delayed but durable attachments rather than fast burning romances. Mercury in Cancer further deepens emotional encoding in communication. Words are not neutral during this period, they are interpreted through emotional subtext. This significantly increases the risk of misinterpretation if communication is too literal or too indirect. Emotional inference becomes more important than semantic content. In relational terms, unspoken expectations carry more weight than explicit statements, which increases the need for precision in emotional expression. Jupiter in Cancer amplifies relational expansion through emotional bonding rather than external opportunity. Growth in relationships occurs through vulnerability, shared memory formation, and emotional disclosure. This is not expansion through novelty, it is expansion through deepening familiarity. Relationships that open emotionally tend to scale quickly in intensity and perceived significance. Saturn in Aries introduces pressure into initiation dynamics. Relationship beginnings require courage, but are met with immediate tests of authenticity. Superficial initiation attempts fail quickly. Only direct, self driven relational actions survive this filter. Displacement reduces tolerance for ambiguity in pursuit behavior. Hesitation is interpreted as lack of intent, not strategic restraint. Uranus in Gemini introduces unpredictability into attraction signals, sudden shifts in interest, unexpected messages, or abrupt relational pivots are structurally embedded in this cycle. Emotional continuity cannot be assumed, it must be actively maintained. This increases the likelihood of intermittent contact patterns that feel destabilizing but are not necessarily negative in intent. Neptune in Aries creates idealized initiation energy. Early stage attraction is heavily influenced by projection of identity potential rather than actual compatibility. This produces scenarios where individuals are attracted to what a connection could become, not what it currently is. This increases romantic idealization risk at the beginning stages of connection. Pluto in Aquarius operates at a background level, restructuring relational expectations around autonomy and emotional truth. Connections that lack psychological authenticity tend to degrade over time. There is low tolerance for artificial relational roles. Power dynamics are exposed rather than hidden, particularly in emotionally imbalanced interactions. As the cycle progresses from the early phase toward midday progression, the emotional environment transitions from observational detachment into increasing emotional saturation. Early signals are analytical and observational. Mid-cycle signals become emotionally immersive and less structured. This produces a clear progression: perception first, emotional integration second, attachment formation third. Relationally, this is a high sensitivity environment where micro-signals carry amplified meaning. Small gestures, delayed responses, and tonal shifts are interpreted as structural indicators of relational trajectory. However, not all signals correspond to actual change in intent. Many are reflective of internal emotional volatility rather than external relational shifts. The dominant risk pattern in this cycle is emotional overinterpretation combined with communication distortion. The dominant opportunity pattern is rapid emotional bonding through consistent, emotionally honest communication that avoids ambiguity. Attraction is strongest where three conditions align: emotional safety with the Cancer influence, intellectual stimulation with the Gemini influence, and physical steadiness with the Taurus influence. When these are synchronized, relational formation becomes rapid and stable. When they are misaligned, attraction becomes inconsistent and oscillatory. The overall relational forecast for this window is not centered on stability or instability in isolation, but on amplification of existing relational tendencies. Stable connections deepen significantly. Unstable connections fragment quickly. Neutral connections polarize in one direction or the other depending on communication clarity. So, in the end, relationships are defined less by external compatibility and more by communication precision, emotional transparency, and the ability to sustain coherence between feeling and expression under fluctuating emotional pressure. That's what I had for you today, collective. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video or comment this video or share this video or hype this video or subscribe to our channel so we grow our channel, our Supreme channel, that much more. And I would greatly appreciate it. Furthermore, please check out the offer in the description box. It is pretty awesome. And also, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being here. And until the next time, collective, blessings.